is going to be a pressure. Everywhere there is going to be a promise to deliver either a service or a product. So everything goes on speed, speed, speed. Does mean that you must be able to produce, more output, but with minimum inputs. So that's going to be the idea. And time is also one of those elements of, resources which is available for all of us. So what I exactly mean is that if you take the time into consideration, which is a valuable resource, so you must be able to, take little time. You must be able to take a little time, but you must be able to present more number of ideas, more amount of material, more amount of coverage. So that's going to be the key for the success of the professionals today. So for that reason, again, presentation skills, they play a very important role in making aware of how to present a big amount of data, a bigger idea, a bigger strategy, but in the least possible time. Because people don't have time to listen to people nowadays, that is the thing. Even if you go to the third level managers, whenever there is a meeting called for by their boss, and almost 60% of people will attend just because it is a compulsion. And there was a survey which was conducted by one of those behavioral scientists who worked for Harvard University. They found very interestingly that the people did not make any meaning out of meetings. So sometimes it becomes very formal, sometimes it becomes mandatory, sometimes it becomes like a necessity. But the idea of any presentation, any meeting, is to convey the idea of the presenter, but to convince people who are going to listen to them. And it is being diverted towards, a change in opinion of the audience actually. So then only the presentation is going to be more meaningful, more interactive, and more purposeful. But nowadays everything is, happening on just formality basis. Now a person who presents his ideas will not be increasing any image or any outcome from his teammates. And even people who are listening to those presentations, they will never give the 100% focus. Now, once if you are good at presentation skills, both problems can be solved. For example, if you are a presenter, definitely it will take only little time to convey all your ideas, and so that the people who are listening to you are get convinced. Similarly, if you are an audience like this, you will definitely appreciate, the parameters or the strategies or ideas which are related to these presentation skills. Now, because of all these things, these presentation skills are going to be very important than ever before in the history of human life. I was reading a magazine very recently, Forbes magazine. No doubt you people who are related to this new generation, you are very good at using your electronic devices, whether a smartphone or a iPad or a tablet or a laptop. So there are many instruments which were not there when I was a student or when we are the students. Now, you people are actually born with all these things in the hand, even in the first year of their life cycle. So the generation is becoming very, very fast. Now, when it comes to the usage, no doubt you all develop a lot of a passion or interest towards using those smartphones or tablets or pads. But the thing is that you are using a specific language which is created based on your own convenience. For example, you don't type YOU to indicate you, but instead they simply type an alphabet U, that's all. You don't type, by the way, BYTHUWAY as a part of the conjunction to communicate your idea. Simply you just type BTW, that's all. Even to express your surprise, you never type, oh my god, instead you generally type OMG. Probably you are more professionals and you may be having more experience than I, how to simplify the language, but to communicate the idea very effectively to the opponent person. But interestingly, this is the reason why most of you young people are losing their jobs also when applying for a company. So almost 90% of HRs, they pointed out that even the present day professional engineers, though they don't even know how to type a formal requisition letter, but to attract the attention of the HR manager, but offer an employment option for all of you. So the people have just forgotten even the spellings of the words also. Even nowadays, smartphones, they have got suggested words which will appear on the top of the screen. Did you notice it? Typing a word, a suggested words, about 10 plus words will be generally appearing on the screen. So instead of typing the whole word, what you generally do? Just select that word. I am telling you, by doing like this, years together, months together, hours together, the capacity of the brain to remember those, spell, that's really getting decreased. So the behavioral scientists have found that there was a strong correlation between the more number of hours you spend on those devices versus the deterioration of the language with what you have on English. Please be cautious about it, because that's going to be one of the points which we wanted to discuss under this presentation skills. I repeat that sentence. There is a strong correlation which was found by the behavioral scientists with the amount of time you spend with all those devices in communicating your ideas versus the deterioration of the language grip what a student has generally have. So both are both very strong. It does mean that more the number of hours you spend with those devices, less is going to be your efficiency over the gripping over the language. So I don't say that don't use them, but see that utilization of those devices will never become an obstacle for your growth. Now, if it comes to the nature, what exactly this presentation skill is that? So it's going to be oral communication, like I am talking to all of you. But with some visuals and slides, it's going to be different. But basically, it's going to be a oral transaction, a oral communication. And an appearance in front of a group of people like this, and to present and deliver the ideas, whatever you wanted to convey with the people who are sitting in front of you. And it must be a two-way communication. So probably you might have witnessed most of the times in the workshops also, there is going to be importance which is given to both the speaker and also the audience. For example, when I talk about a concept, probably sometimes I'll ask you to discuss about the same idea with your mates who are sitting to your next. And sometimes I'll encourage or I'll demand some of you to raise some questions what I heard just now about. So an effective presentation must be a two-way communication process. And I just came to know, of course not just, about a few days back, most of our final year students, when they are presenting with their slides in product syllabus number 1, they play the slide like this, and they just sing this and then reading, by showing the back to the audience. Please remember 90% 10% rule, 90-10, 90-10. And sometimes it can also be 80-20 rule. What does it exactly mean? Is that 90% of the time you must be able to face your face with the audience, and 90% of the times you must be able to make good eye contact with each one of you, possible. And 90% of the times you should not show your back to the audience. It is one of the important points under body language. The moment you hide your face, the moment you show your back, it does mean that the evaluator would easily know about, either you did not prepare well, or you did not have good confidence on the topic which you wanted to present, or you lack confidence at all to face people. Growth, or promotion, or development in any organization or individual, it comes only when you prove that your expertise is going to be the best for the organization. But to prove it, you need to face people, you need to talk to people, you need to present your ideas with a group of people. Then only the recognition comes automatically, the image gets developed automatically, and the opportunities will be given to that person automatically. So please understand, my dear friends, the presentation, when you are doing it, so never show your back to the audience, not more than 10%, not more than. But just now I came to know that that was actually reversed. Only 10% of the time you are facing your classmates or your teachers or your evaluators, and 90% of the times you are just busy in reading that slide, what was put over the projector. I am telling you, this strategy will never help you to improve your image at all. The presentation will never be effective. The people will not listen to you, and even the speaker cannot present almost all ideas what he wanted to or she wanted to convey. The second one, interactive, that point was already covered. It must be two-way. It must be two-way. I can present my ideas, but at the same time, I must be able to grasp the understanding levels of the audience who is getting exposed to this presentation. There are two more, formal and audience-oriented. Formal means it must be a structured scientific activity. Now I invited all of you, for example, to conduct this. I have done a lot of background work, the base work, almost about a few days from now. So I created a circular, for example, it was distributed, it was informed to all faculty members, HODs, project coordinators and project guides, and of course students also. and the time was given, a place is decided, and during that time interval, you're all invited to come here to listen to this presentation. Now it has become very formal. What I mean by informal is that I cannot just come out of my chamber and ask a group of people, you come to the portico, there I wanted to discuss, what exactly I mean by presentation skills. Of course, that can also be done. But we are not talking just about presentations, we are talking about effective presentations. A closed room, a structured program will always be very much useful to drive all your points to the audience. So open space interactions will never make people, to take it very seriously. So please keep all these 4 parameters in your mind. It must be formal, it must be two-way communication, and there must be a purpose for a presentation, and finally, it must be audience-oriented. For example, now I choose a topic, presentation skills for professional students. Now it is really audience-oriented, because you wanted to know about it, you wanted to practice it, and you wanted to learn, and then you wanted to execute. So it has become audience-oriented. For example, if I start an interactive session, let us say on nanotechnology, so then the whole process will become meaningless. Only just a few, but of course, not 100%, but there may be 5 to 7% of people who might be interested in knowing about nanotechnology. But there is no practicality, there is no relevance, because you are all studying either TAT BTech or final BTech. Knowing about presentation skills is going to be more important than knowing about the research areas in nanotechnology. So in that sense, I put that parameter also into consideration. Now, there are many presentations, many types of presentations. Probably most of you don't know many of them. Of course, now we are presenting for your competition of those 25 or 50 marks for internal seminars, internal assessment. So similarly, a seminar is also a presentation, and workshops, student presentations, industry conferences, product launches, press conferences, team presentations, annual board meetings, departmental presentations. So the list goes on and on like this. But everywhere there is a need for a person to present his ideas very effectively. So unless that purpose is identified, unless that target is, unless that objective is targeted, you cannot really give the best out of you in terms of conveying your ideas to a group of people. So there are many like this. Now can you tell me which are related to our students now? The top one, seminars, is more relevant to the third year students. And what else? Student presentations, of course. Whenever you find one sort of conference happening elsewhere in other colleges, and our student friends will go and participate in most of those events. Probably business presentations or idea presentations are going to be a part of it. So that comes under this category. And departmental presentations, it is related to your project seminars. And other ones, they come only when you enter into a working environment. One thing I could have